and welcome. I'm Good News, your trusted human rights advocate and an online law professor. Today, I'll be tackling a very crucial, important, relevant topic, which is the landlord and tenant relationship. The importance of this relationship cannot be overemphasized because it's something you and I have to deal with on a daily basis. In Nigeria, it's either you a landlord or you a tenant. It is unavoidable. So let's dive in. Ask yourself, are you a tenant or landlord in Nigeria? Do you want to avoid costly mistakes? Are you prepared for the unexpected? Are you aware that so many landlords and tenants have spent their hard-earned money due to ignorance? Do you know your rights and responsibilities as a landlord or a tenant in Nigeria? Whichever way you answer this question, whether in affirmative or in negative, please come with me. The landlord and tenant relationship is simply a contractual agreement between two parties, the landlord and the tenant. This relationship is regulated by key laws in Nigeria, including the Nigerian Constitution, the Land Use Act, the Recovering of Premises Act, and the Rent Control Act. Let's start with the basis. Who is a tenant? A tenant is simply a person in physical occupation of a property, whether for residential or for commercial purpose, who pays rent in exchange for a right to occupy the property. In other words, for you to be a tenant, you must be in physical occupation of the property in question. You must have the right to occupy that property within a specified period of time. You must pay rent to your landlord. And you must be in contractual agreement, that is a tenancy agreement, whether oral or in writing. So if you do not meet these criteria, I'm afraid you are not a tenant. It's either you a squatter or a trespasser that can be thrown out by your landlord at will without any form of intervention by the law. Who is a landlord? A landlord is the owner of the property who rents or leases out that property to a tenant in an exchange for a rent. For you to be a landlord, the legal title of that property, that is to say the ownership of the property, must reside in you. Otherwise, you are not a landlord. Having established who a landlord and who a tenant is, I want to emphasize the need of having a tenancy agreement in place. The importance of it cannot be overstated or overrated. Surprisingly, so many people do not. They claim to be tenant and landlord, but they do not have this tenancy agreement. It's so important that is the foundation that validates that relationship. In my experience as a legal practitioner, so many clients walk up to me with disputes, complaining, my tenant did that, my landlord did that. I asked them, as a legal guru, ask them a pertinent question: where is your tenancy agreement? Unfortunately, up to 80% of them don't have. And this is pathetic. A tenancy agreement is simply a legally binding document outlining the rights and responsibilities of the parties, the nature and duration of the tenancy, the terms and conditions of the tenancy, the mode of terminating the tenancy. You can see it's important, cannot be overemphasized. It gives room for clarity and transparency, therefore reducing or minimizing future disputes. Because if the parties confine themselves within the terms and conditions of the tenancy, I doubt if there will be disputes. So as a legal practitioner, I urge you You that is a tenant, you that is a landlord that have no tenancy agreement backing up your relationship, to go and get one. If you're a landlord, furnish your tenant with a tenancy agreement. And you, if you're a tenant, demand one from your landlord. And in doing so, ensure that that tenancy agreement is drafted and signed by a legal practitioner. Otherwise, it has no binding force. It's just a made paper. It's just null and void and have no effect. Having listened to me, please don't forget to click that like and share button. Also subscribe. Drop your comment below, as this will prepare me, motivate me to come up with more informative content. Also, in my next video, I'll be discussing the rights and responsibilities of both the tenant and the landlord, when to terminate a tenancy, and the valid mode of evicting a tenant, so that the tenant will know, both the tenant and the landlord will know when their rights are infringed upon, and the remedies, available remedies. Thank you for watching. Bye.